like and subscribe right now, or you're gonna have terrible luck for the next week. Alright, let's face it, the only reason these two prehistoric giant reptiles are often pitted against each other has to do with a brief scene from the 2001 movie Jurassic Park III. And this is perhaps why most of you already believe that Spinosaurus would emerge the victor anytime these dinosaurs are compared. In the scene, Spinosaurus takes lethal fire from a massive bull T-Rex, but quickly recovers and manages to outmaneuver the angry Tyrannosaurus. Spinosaurus then bites deep into its aggressor's neck, gripping firmly with its forearms, and snaps it in a lethal twist that instantly kills the bellowing T-Rex. While Jurassic Park films are quite entertaining, you'll agree that the events depicted in their world-famous movies have little to do with real-life science. As such, the brief scene from Jurassic Park III was created solely for our entertainment, since, in real life, Spinosaurus lived 10 to 30 million years before T-Rex tromped the Earth. They also lived in different parts of the world, and they had completely different ecological niches. But this wasn't going to stop us dinosaur enthusiasts from imagining just how a fight between these legendary giants would have played out, had they somehow encountered each other in real life. And you'll have to agree that since 2001, the Spinosaurus versus T-Rex topic has been the most toxic, most overhyped, and most discussed topic where dinosaurs are involved. Now, these incredible reptiles have long gone extinct, and while it's exciting to imagine them squaring off in an epic battle, there are several deciding factors which should guide us in determining the possible victor. Both being remarkable contenders, I think it'd be fair to assume that the more formidable the animal, the better chance it has to emerge as the sole survivor. Stay tuned for the full analysis of the deathly clash between the gigantic Spinosaurus and the fearsome T-Rex. Also, be sure to stay put for the detailed verdict of the hypothetical fight at the end of this short video. In the red corner, we have Spinosaurus. First up, we have the giant-sized, half-Nile croc, half-crested newt, semi-aquatic dinosaur, Spinosaurus. This was the largest ever theropod dinosaur, and the latest geological data estimates the giant reptiles to measure about 14.5 meters long and weigh in at around 7.6 metric tons. While Spinosaurus was indeed a very large reptile, it was rather slim for its length. Other theropods would have had more mass than Spinosaurus had they been equal in length. It did not have as wide a torso as other large theropods, and neither did it have muscular legs as we know for its terrestrial counterparts. It's quite likely that while Spinosaurus was larger than Tyrannosaurus, it was less massive. And this fact really goes a long way in a face-off between the two legends. Alright, so there's a reason why the largest ever theropod dinosaur was also moderately less massive, and it has to do with its adaptation for life in and around water bodies. But being lightly built, having a streamlined and graceful body was not the only adaptation for its semi-aquatic lifestyle. Spinosaurus also had a narrow head with a slender, elongated snout-like mouth, which is more common in fish-eating creatures. Its nostrils were higher up on its skull so that it could breathe while its snout was submerged in water, much like what you see in crocodiles. Its mouth was lined with cone-like teeth, which were not serrated, unlike what is the case for terrestrial theropod dinosaurs such as the Tyrannosaurus rex. That being said, Spinosaurus' cone-shaped teeth were perfect for holding onto slippery fish and other aquatic prey, but were not great at slicing or cutting through flesh. Something which, honestly, is a disadvantage in a fight against a T-Rex, an opponent known for wielding razor-sharp, flesh-slicing teeth. The one thing that would preserve Spinosaurus' life would be its long and robust forearms. Most theropods have shorter forearms, which isn't the case for Spinosaurus, whose forearms were believed to have been about the same size as its legs. Having longer forearms was useful in water, as well as in a fight situation, where the arms could be used as a sort of safeguard to prevent the attacker from gaining access to its body without risking getting hurt themselves. Spinosaurus wielded sharp, hooked claws, which, although were primarily meant for maintaining a grip on their slippery, piscine prey, could be weaponized just as easily. Still, little is known about Spinosaurus' forearms and hind limbs, even though the general agreement is that the beast had the same size legs and forearms. Its legs were said to be shorter and less muscular than those of other theropods. Its short back legs would have reduced drag and helped in paddling when the Spinosaurus was in the water. As such, the hind limbs would not support its massive body, something which made it quite difficult for Spinosaurus to be bipedal. Instead, the massive reptile is said to have either wobbled, like a very large duck, or slid around on its belly like a crocodile or a loon. Whichever the case, Spinosaurus did not use its forearms to walk on land, as is the case for animals that lived in similar habitats to the giant prehistoric reptile. In over 220 million years of dinosaur evolution, there have not been any animals that quite matches up to the Spinosaurus, both in size and, dare I say, in ferocity as well. And just looking at this remarkable specimen, you know that it was one giant reptile no other creature could trifle with. Well, possibly, until the dawn of the age of the tyrant lizard king, Tyrannosaurus. So let's just see how unique and specialized T-Rex was, and how it compares to Spinosaurus. In the blue corner, we have T-Rex. Aside from being one of the largest and baddest carnivorous dinosaurs to ever live, Tyrannosaurus rex is the ancient reptile that has arguably received the most media exposure, deservedly so. The name Tyrannosaurus rex, T-Rex for short, literally means tyrant lizard king, and there's no arguing that this North American juggernaut lived up to its name. Tyrannosaurus rex was a completely different dinosaur to the Spinosaurus, since it lived a fully terrestrial life. It came about 40 million years or so after Spinosaurus, and its terrestrial niche meant that it would have a very different body structure to its semi-aquatic rival. Right there, you get the sense that we're pitting a massive dinosaur adapted for life around water masses against a fierce dinosaur adapted for hunting other large and dangerous reptiles on land. Because these are both formidable beasts, it doesn't take rocket science to understand that a fight between them will sooner or later come down to which of the two massive theropods can bite, chomp, and rip their opponent apart quicker than the other. And in all honesty, you can't beat a Rex at the biting game. I mean, Tyrannosaurus rex was a huge and powerfully built reptile capable of taking down prey that was twice, thrice even, its size. It was a powerful carnivore armed with all the right tools for big game hunting. What with its robust and wide skull and a huge mouth lined with razor-sharp, railroad spike teeth combined with its thick, powerful neck and jaw muscles, this beast was truly the unstoppable killing machine of its time. A mean, meat-eating dinosaur of sorts, which could rip, tear, and puncture the flesh and crush the bones of whatever prey that was unfortunate enough to fall victim to its bite. But while T-Rex had the form of a heavy and robust animal, built like a walking tank, there was something counterintuitive about its nature vis-a-vis how we perceive the beast to have been. You see, most top predators are designed to kill other large and powerful animals, but they seldom do so. Instead, they target less high-risk prey such as the juveniles, the old, and sometimes the sickly. The same must have been true for the T-Rex. While it was robust and more muscular than most dinosaurs of its time, hunting down equally large animals such as Triceratops would have been risky business for the T-Rex. As such, it would be safe to assume that T-Rex would more than likely choose to abscond a battle with Spinosaurus had the two have met somehow. Tyrannosaurus rex, while more heavily built than Spinosaurus, is much shorter in length, and there's nothing that intimidates any prey or predator more than sheer size, regardless of whether the musculature of the animal matches its size. Spinosaurus being bigger than the T-Rex, it would have been more intimidating, and T-Rex would have most likely lost the battle in its mind before the fight even actually began. But what makes this a difficult battle to predict is the fact that we can't ignore the Rex's sheer robustness in determining the outcome of the fight, especially bearing in mind that T-Rex likely fought off and perhaps killed other large theropods, and as such, we can assume that it had experience in dealing with such confrontations. More so, tight situations like the fight against a massive Spinosaurus, where the endgame is to kill or be killed. Fight! At this point, a massive 15-meter-long, 8-ton Spinosaurus has crossed swords with the bulky, 12-meter-long, 10-ton Tyrannosaurus rex. And since face biting was a common thing around Rexes, that's exactly what the Rex here goes for, Spinosaurus's nasal cavity. The fatal bite could have effectively collapsed the whole of Spinosaurus' skull, potentially ending the fight right there and then. But the lucky Spinosaurus manages to get himself out of the grip of the Rex's menacing sharp teeth. In retaliation, Spinosaurus draws its claws out and sinks them squarely into Rex's neck, nearly tearing the jugular. We cannot ignore the fact that it's the sheer robustness of the Rex that helps him sustain minor injuries only. Had the Spinosaurus bitten down on the Rex's neck, it would have been a totally different case. While Spinosaurus' long and narrow skull, complete with the signature hook in its upper jaw, certainly complements its primary diet of fish, it would prove to be highly capable of causing copious amounts of damage to large opponents like the Rex. Still, let's not forget that both these animals are vicious predators, and as such, they were very well adapted to dealing with high levels of bite stress. It would, therefore, take more than a single well-timed strike to take any of these giants down. Yeah, it's a tense situation, and the outcome is really dependent on whether both Spinosaurus and T-Rex can come up with a well-executed counterattack to follow up with.
Now it's time for today's best pick.
This image was sent to us by a subscriber just like you. It's a fight poster like no other, and while the unusual contenders are now long extinct, you can't deny that it would have been a thrilling experience witnessing the massive Spinosaurus going snout to snout with the bulky Tyrannosaurus.
Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell, and you will get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it, it really works.
Verdict. Alright, so I'm guessing most of you have placed your bets on the Spinosaurus. Understandably so, knowing especially that the Jurassic Park franchise-based fight scenario likely influenced that wager. But in all honesty, Spinosaurus has extremely low chances of beating a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I mean, come on, it's not too hard to understand that the T-Rex is far more capable of defending itself against potentially dangerous opponents than the Spinosaurus. And the massive head of the T-Rex, being able to muster a biting force of more than 6 tons, could effectively pulverize its opponent's bones and even, get this, effectively decapitate its prey. To cut the long story short, it's game over for Spinosaurus if the T-Rex would have been able to squarely clamp down its jaws on Spinosaurus's elongated snout. I believe that in such a fight, it all comes down to musculature and the anatomy of the two beasts. And it's quite safe to say that T-Rex has the Spinosaurus outmatched, outgunned, and outclassed. The verdict, therefore, stands that T-Rex would have annihilated the Spinosaurus 8 times to 2. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed, be sure to smash the like icon and leave a comment. Your engagement is what keeps our curiosity going. We have lots of fantastic videos that you will enjoy. You can start by checking out the 2 already showing up on your screen right now. Keep it 100.